I tell you I was on my mind?
What's up? It's your brother.
Can I get a
Your
couple of
cousin,
things
your
on my
uncle, your
chest?
nephew, your friend, but I can't be your son as your kinfolk. William Jewell. Giving you my detail. Let's all articulate. This is articulating raps. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? If you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below and turn all the notifications on so you can get all the new posts, all the new content when I make them. I just came here to motivate, right? I just came here to give y'all a telescopic and microscopic view, close up and far away, of this world, this culture, this thing that we call hip hop, right? Because it's so popular, right? And it defines what's cool. It defines fashion. It defines how we speak. It defines our posture, our body language. It defines, our responses to certain actions. Hip hop is one of those defining things in culture, especially in the American culture, especially urban America. So, I just want to make sure I give it its just due. And I don't like to be messy, but I like to talk about music. I like to talk about what's going on. I've been outside. It's a little cold outside. So when I'm outside in the cold and I get back in the warm spaces, my nose get runny. I got bigger nostrils. So sometimes the snot just seeps through them. So please forgive me if you see some snot bubbles, if you see some snot running. But we gonna get through it, right? We gonna get through it because I love to do it. And I mean, the first thing really on the agenda is Peterson, right? The first thing on the agenda is Tory Lanez. The first thing we have to speak about is this new album that came out this past Friday, and I gave it a couple spins. Spinderella. I gave it a couple spins, and I was pleasantly surprised. I was more taken aback. It was more breathtaking. It was more so where I wasn't expecting this type of energy, this type of sound, this type of passion, this type of commitment to greatness, to the craft, to the perfection of hip hop and melodic song making through a prison phone. I was pleasantly surprised with Tory Lanez. He was on the cover, flexing like he was swole. Right? And Tory Lanez has been in the news and the media for a lot of negative things. Right? When we talk about the Megan Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez court case. And I mean, to me, this is just a continuing theme throughout this music. Is not as intentional as Daystar. It's not as flagrant. It's not as current. It's not talking about it as much per se, but there still is a constant theme. And just like Drake put himself in a situation to get roasted by Kendrick Lamar, I feel like Tory, being too cocky, being too entitled, got himself in a situation to get put in jail because he was running his mouth too much, and Megan tried to warn him and he just wouldn't stop. And when he wouldn't stop, then they made him stop. Right? So at the end of the day, boys and girls, if you're in hip hop, learn this lesson. You're not bigger than the law system. You're not bigger than your record label. You're not bigger than the culture. Right? And of course, some people think Tory Lanez is innocent. What he was charged with was not shooting Megan. What he was charged with was the discharging of a firearm in his possession going off. He wasn't charged with shooting her. So we got to get that right. Right? Two things can be true, like they say. But let's get back to the music. Let's get back to the album because the album is what captivated me. The production, the samples, the soulfulness, the melodies at the right pocket at the right time, the skits, the poetry from his father, knowing that he was featuring his brothers and sisters, knowing that this was a family affair. Peterson, knowing that Tory Lanez put his heart in it, knowing that he was recording from a jail phone and certain inmates were looking at him, watching him from a bird's eye view, plotting on him, maybe wanting to harm him. He didn't want to go to PC. He wanted to be in the GP, the General Pop. And Tory Lanez still was courageous, still was brave enough to deliver this type of masterpiece. Right? And I hearken it back to the Toronto style that him and Drake have and their ability to be chameleons, their ability to blend in. And I don't know if it works for Tory because he sounds better to me. He's more believable, more authentic to me. Or is it I don't know why that Tory can do what Drake does, but when he does what Drake does, to me it's more profound. I don't know if Drake has been in that number one spot for so long and we've grown fatigue of his music, and I have to compare them because they're both Toronto, and Tory definitely took Drake's flow and he took some of his flow on a crunked up beat too. When he got live, when he got energetic, when he got angry and passionate about what he was saying. So he took Drake's flow multiple times. And I feel like he did it better than Drake. I feel like he put on a clinic. He showed Drake how to use his vocal ability. He showed Drake how he should be rapping if he's going to steal styles. He showed Drake, if you were a dark-skinned man, this might be what you would sound like. He showed Drake that besides the public appearance, besides the Jewish background, right, this is what you should be doing. This is how to do it perfectly. Right? So I just like what he did. And he's so versatile. I mean, we don't even have to talk about the flows. We don't even have to talk about the cadences. He's so versatile, right? We don't even have to talk about the lyrics because all of that was delivered. I mean, and to be honest, the risk was taken just from recording from prison and hoping that it would sound good. And I mean, this brings us back to that AI conversation, right? Because even if he wasn't able to get off those vocal tones in the perfect sound when it needed to be recorded, he still could have rapped that, and they still could have used AI for his actual voice to make it sound even more crisper, even more clean. This is the perfect time where we need AI. We don't necessarily need AI to mimic a person that doesn't even exist. We need AI to enhance the vocals of some of our rappers that can't get their vocals, or some of our singers that can't get their vocals the way they need it to be based on any type of experience, based on any type of situation, based on their circumstances. That's what AI should be used for. It should be used as a tool. It shouldn't be used, as the end all be all, right? It should be used as a tool, not necessarily the main character. So I think this is a conversation that we can kind of have about why AI is important. And I don't think Tory Lanez is that big of an artist to where we would really need to get him on AI. And the thing is, he's not big. He's not that big of an artist. Like since Daystar, since his troubles With Megan Thee Stallion, whenever you try to find a Tory album, it's never listed. You have to directly go to his name to find his music. And I think that says a lot about how the industry views him. And that says a lot about some of the, bridges he's burnt, or just some of the, enemies that he's made in the industry. So One Umbrella Records, this is independent as well. So it's crazy somebody so talented as him. On top of that, even in jail, like everything's against him. And I saw that his album was #1 on Apple Music at one point in time over GNX. So it's mind boggling, but it's also inspiring to see a man down and out, a man in the ashes, in the dirt, in the quicksand, sinking. And no, he's no Nelson Mandela. No, he's, no Tookie Williams, right? No, he's no Tupac Shakur, even though he had the skit. No, he's not one of those guys that we treat with reverence, but he's a guy that we should treat with respect as far as his musicality and his attention to detail and just his focus and his passion for music and artistry, because I don't think you could put any of those rappers that do the auto-tune in prison and they can deliver this. I don't think you can put any of those weak-ass R&B motherfuckers in prison and they could do this. I don't even think you could put some of the best hip-hop artists in prison and they still find a way to do this. So I think he deserves credit. He deserves kudos. And he deserves recognition. And he should get our respect. As far as the Megan Thee Stallion situation, as far as the black women protect them situation, I mean, that's up for y'all to decide. Right now, I'm just judging the music. And that's how I see the music. I'm not listening to Tory. This is somebody I guess I can listen to without that type of bias. I'm not listening to Tory thinking about Megan Thee Stallion. I'm just listening to him separately based, you know what I'm saying? I'm listening to him separately of, whatever he's going through. And I just like the content. I like the substance that he's giving. And I just like how he's talking on this album, like through and through. From the production, I can't say he's original because he just takes so many styles, but sometimes when he hits that high notes, you can see the originality, the creativity was there with the beat switches. That theme kept going on throughout the album, right? The risk taking was there, the production was there, the lyrics was there, the substance was there. Like, how could we be mad at this? And like when I think about this album as a solo person, I think I gotta put it right up there with Life is Beautiful. And as a solo person, if I rated Life is Beautiful at 8.5, I might give this an 8.6, 8.7 because of the difficulty that it took for him to do this, right? And to do it mainly by himself. And I think that was 17 tracks. It was a few tracks, and they wasn't short tracks either. And really more than that because it was 2 different beat switches. So, but let's go on. Let's go on. Shout out Tory Lanez, 8.6, 8.7. All right, not a 9, but you right there, brother. Then let's go on. Jello Glorilla, right? Sounds just like Tweaker. I mean, I think the single is cool. I think the single is cute. But I don't take it serious because it sounds just like Tweaker. And my question is, what's going to be the next step or going to be the next sound after he plays this sound out? Right? Because when we talk about Lil Baby, when we talk about Dirt, when we talk about Young Boy, when we talk about all these Littles and Da Baby, we talk about those type of guys, like their sound gets played out eventually after they continue to, you know what I'm saying, be repetitive with it. So if they keep repeating their sound, it'll appease those fan base people that they initially catch as they're, you know what I'm saying, going up. But in order to continue to grasp and infiltrate more fan bases, I think this is not gonna go far unless the sound changes and unless he can really improve on his ability. Right? He's a ball brother. The money's gonna be behind him, but it's only so long that gimmick is gonna work for him. And so he's gonna need to do something else. But I mean, this is a good song. Glorilla did her thing. Great feature, right? Great choice of a feature. And I mean, it sounds like Tweaker, so I see this one doing something as well, but I don't love it. And then we go to Doechii, right? Anxiety. I think it was a cool song. I think Doechii can rap her ass off, right? I think Doechii is one of one. And the reason why I don't love Doechii is because of her comment that she made. And not that's why I don't love Doechii, but I knew Doechii was like this. I sensed it. I felt it. And this is a reason I don't love Doechii. I like Doechii, right? She reminds me, dang, what's her name? I can't even think of the name right now. Once I think of it, I'll say it, right? But Doechii, she says a straight man is a red flag to her while dating. And that's crazy. Right? That's just like a man saying like a woman that's a straight woman that doesn't just like only men is a red flag. I think that's a red flag to think that's a red flag. Right? Because what that means is it's just saying the same thing that we always say about most women. Enough is never enough and it's hard to please them. And to me, I don't know if she's trying to make herself sound weirder or stranger than she already looks or already is. Right? Not that she looks strange, but just she looks artsy. Right? Her style, her fashion, her music, it's artsy. It's very creative. It's like Tyler the Creator. Uh but I mean she's very artsy. And I don't know if this is like some Jaden Smith type of thinking or talk. But to me, that's what this reminds me of Jaden Smith, of Tyler the Creator, of people trolling with sexuality just to get a rise out of the heterosexual side or get some sympathy and some clout from the LBGTQ side because Megan the Stallion's done it. Uh, Cardi B's done it. Beyonce's done it. Like it seems like you know to get more fans and to build your fan base, you have to pander to certain sectors and sections of the community. And I mean, people could be seeing it as being inclusive, which I'm not mad about if they want to be inclusive. But if we're going to talk about inclusivity, let's talk about honesty as well. Let's talk about truth as well because I don't think sometimes this inclusivity or this pandering or projection of inclusivity comes from a genuine spot. And so that's what makes me question it and that's what makes me question Doechii. I like Doechii. Dark skin, chocolate, like a Hershey bar. Something you would want to lick if you were close to it. Braids, cornrows. Somebody you would just want to be able to run your fingers through the lines of her hair. Slim body. Even if you had the shortest of arms, you could still wrap your arms around her waist. Even if you had the smallest of hands, right? You could still feel the jiggle of her booty. So I love Doechii, but I don't love Doechii. And basically, she gave me another reason to raise my eyebrows at her, and she gave me another reason to be right about how I felt about her all along. So I love TDE, but SZA and Doechii, to me, they're different. I'm not saying they're weirdos, but they do weird things. And nothing's wrong with it. But for me, that's a red flag. Right? Because that to me, that just means somebody crazy. A weird woman is a crazy woman. And then when we talking about Doechii and Paris Fashion Week with Pharrell, we also got to talk about JID announcing his album is finished. His album is done. I think his album is on the way. I'm an avid JID fan. I feel like JID is one of the top 5 rappers now, currently. When we talk about skill set, when we talk about ability, creativity, originality, vocally, when we talk about everything that a rapper embodies, JID can do. He's made some hit songs, been featured on some hit songs, so he has that ability too. But I just feel like he hasn't been pushed like he needs to be pushed because he's on that weak ass Dreamville label. But once he can get off that weak ass Dreamville label and get with Interscope independently of Dreamville or just another record label outside of that, I think he can flourish because if we know he has the talent, we know he has the ability, and Cole has helped him. Cole has been on features. Cole has been on songs with him. So I can't really blame Cole all that for him not being who he should be right now, but I blame the Dreamville record label, right? Because a feature, a song can only go so far, right? And you know, back in the day, that's what Wayne did for Drake, and Drake blew the fuck up because of that. And I think Cole thought he could do that with JID, but that method wasn't one that worked. So I think they need to figure out another way to push him into that spotlight because we need somebody to come after that big 3 that we can hold up here and say he's the next one, he's the best one now, right? And that way we can move into another era of rap. And I feel like we can't move into another era of rap because we holding the big 3 hostage, right? We holding the big 3 hostage. J. Cole, Kendrick, and Drake, they all want to do some different things outside of rap. You see what Kendrick is doing right now? Whitney Springs. He's teaming up with the South Park. I already spoke about this. He's teaming up with the South Park creators, and he's doing a comedy where he's going to be interning in a African American museum as a slave reenactor, and he's gonna find out that his girlfriend's family owned his family when they were slaves. So it's supposed to be a comedy. To me, I'm getting Jordan Peele vibes only because I know the mind of Kendrick Lamar and where it can go and how creative he can be when it comes to this type of subject matter. But just seeing what he did with 50 Cent on Power and his acting ability, like I'm very interested in like how he's going to portray in this role. I'm very intrigued on his his entering into the cinema part of the industry. And I can't wait for it, right? Because this is what we got to do. This is the next step in becoming a mogul. 50 Cent did it, Ice Cube did it, right? So if Kendrick is trying to take his creative potential all the way, I think this is the only right way to do it. And definitely PG Lang, definitely Dave Free. Their synergy is just unmatched. So I don't see this movie being less than great. I don't see this movie being less than great. Just knowing like the time and attention to detail that they put into things. I know it's gonna be symbolism everywhere. Just like when we talk about the Jordan Peele movie, Get Out. The symbolism in the yard and all that stuff is gonna be there. And can we talk about this LeBron and Stephen A altercation? Right? Damn, I know we into music, but LeBron, bro, that shit was weak. Because you're trying to charge up a weak 50 something year old man in public, telling him to keep his son out of this shit. You trying to tell him to keep your son out of the shit that you brought him into. You put him on an NBA team, and everybody knows he was drafted because of you. You were the one tweeting about how your son are better than current NBA players, and then when he got to the NBA, he was less than. Yes, he's had a couple of G League games. I'm not saying Bronny James is not a good player, but I'm saying you are the one that put him right in the face of ridicule. You put him right in the face of criticism. And now you're trying to put a blindfold on that face? Now you're trying to cover that face with your hands? That's not how this business works. Because what you're really doing is avoiding the accountability. What you're really doing is avoiding the responsibility. And we know why you did it in public. You wanted everybody to see you do that. So when you have a documentary, so when you have something else that you want to say, you can say, hey, I told, man, hey, I tried to tell Stephen A, man, hey, just keep Bronny's name out your mouth. You know, I didn't like that. When you get on the shop, somebody going to ask you, hey, man, I just didn't like how he was covering him. Like, that's just nothing but fodder for you when you're on TV. That's why you wanted to be on the cameras. You can't fool me. LeBron James. No. Because at the end of the day, only Stephen A only basically said, you don't do this to your son. You doing this to your son. You the one that put him on this pedestal. You the one that put him on this platform. You the one that got him in the eye of the media. Not him. And now you're emasculating him again. Right? Now as a father, like Bronny James is probably 20. Right? Like, I don't want my father fighting all my battles for me. I don't want my mama fighting all my battles for me. I don't want them to fight no battles for me, especially if I'm a millionaire and I can say what I want to say on my own. Right? Bronny was smoking weed. He was saying all types of shit when he was about 16, 17. Now, all of a sudden, he can't open his mouth and say something about people when they criticize him. He can say and do what he want. He ain't listen to LeBron like that anyways. So, you ain't doing nothing, Bron, but pacifying him. You ain't doing nothing but emasculating him. Let your son handle the business how he wants to handle the business. You can't protect him. These are the things that he needs to see. These are the things that he needs to deal with. These are the challenges that he needs to face if he's going to be a man someday. You can't stop him from evolving. You can't shelter him. You can't coddle him. You can't be babying him. He's an NBA player making millions of dollars. LeBron, shame on you. But shame on Drake as well. Because, right, I want to play that Fighting Irish freestyle. Right, but Drake is in the news again. Right, he's in the news again because the lawyers were saying that they came to an amicable resolution and they are comfortable with the terms that they settled with iHeart Media. When it comes to iHeart Media, Drake's lawyers were trying to say they came to a settlement. iHeart Media came out and said, we didn't settle anything. This was a petition. They asked us for documents. We gave them documents proving that we were not into any payola type of payment. And then the petition got thrown out. And I was already thinking that it was something like that. if you heard me talk on the last podcast, the last episode, I was already thinking it was something like that, but I didn't want to say that Drake didn't get any money because he could possibly have. But now that we knows he didn't get anything but some white papers, he didn't get anything but some documents and PDF files saying that they were not culpable with any payola type of scheme or pay for play when it came to the radio. So, I mean, another bubble was bursted. Another bubble was bursted. And it's just, hey, that's just kind of like where we at right now in hip hop. That's where we at right now in hip hop. It was some good things that came out. Some things that I like, some things I don't like. But it is what it is. That's just my telescopic, my microscopic view of the culture from far away and close up. It's your brother, your uncle, your nephew, your friend, but I can't be your son. It's your kinfolk, William Jewell. Giving you my detail as I articulate. This is articulating. Rap, 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 rap.